Okay, well, you're on.
Hi.
Sound? Yeah, you have to talk loud.
We're in the Dare County Courthouse doing research on our Historia and Nostalgia.
And then we're going to go first. We're at Dare County. We're on Roanoke Island. It's, what's today's date?
It's
Today is
September 20th.
September 20th, 1991. And we've come here to find the Pew's roots and wages are on. This is the house that Charlie Pew built. Charlie Pew was the lighthouse keeper here on Roanoke Island, and he's our great uncle.
You know what?
You can see the sign here. There's Jackson, and we're on Roanoke Island at C.W. Pew's Bed and Breakfast, and behind us, as you can see, is the home that the brother of our great-grandfather lived in here on this island. And we'll go in and have a look. The house has been restored by Nancy and Wayne Gray. Wayne Gray is a distant cousin. Here's another view of the house from another angle. It's a beautiful old home. Here's Jackson and Pooh. And we're going to go into the house now and have a look inside. We're inside the house now, and I want you to see some of these photographs. See if you can see them. This right here is Charles W. Pew. You can see. And he's the guy who built this home. Over here is Delphin Daniels Pew.
John Pugh, who was born January 2nd, 1829, who died February 24th, 1889. Why don't you get closer?
This is Cynthia Tillett Pew. She was born in 1834 and died in 1916. And I believe that she was...
Hi, I'm Carla Pew. My brother's in Roanoke Island. Study on our father's family of origin.
What's the date?
It's Saturday, the 20th.
1991.
1991.
The 21st. And here's John from Denver, Colorado. I expect people will be watching from now.
We're on the little township of Wanchese, originally coming from Wales, and we've just come upon the gravesite of this here is our grandfather's wife. Now, she wasn't someone who she only lived until the age of 21, and then she died of some kind of disease where they didn't have antibiotics. But my mother, Nikki, one of her greatest fears was that she wouldn't be able to meet Carl, who she was married to for over 50 years. She wouldn't be able to meet heaven because this wife might intercede. But we don't know whether that would have happened or not.
Can we go any further than this?
This is our grandfather's parents. This is our father's, well, this is our great-grandparents. William Sinclair Pugh was a seaman, and he owned a fleet of ships, and he was had a fishing.
Hi, I'm John Pugh. In further review of our ancestry, these are the markers of Carla Pugh, who was the lighthouse keeper here on Roanoke Island, appointed by the federal government. He's the brother of William Sinclair Pugh, which was our great-grandfather. This is his wife, also Delphine D. Pugh, better known nickname. This marker over here is one of his children, Fordyce Wells Pugh, who lived only about 1 year. His other child was Daisy, and if you could come over here, I'll show you her marker. This is Daisy Pugh. This was the other child he had, and she married into the Gray family. She married Richard H. Gray, and her children, Wayne, has just recently bought and renovated. That's called the C.W. Pugh Bed and Breakfast Inn, and this is something we happened upon in our visit here, and we are presently staying there. They also own a restaurant named the Queen Anne's Revenge, which is quite a nice restaurant.
Welcome from the sunny shores of North Carolina. Pugh family.
We're at Nag's Head Beach.
Thank you. Taking some real pictures of herself.
He's the king of the rock.
Squirrel. There's the crashing surf behind us right back there.
You should have seen it last night. Take pictures of him.
That banging sound you hear on the thing there, that's the lens cap flying in the breeze, smacking against the camera. Yeah, now we're going to throw football in the ocean. Come on, Jack, let's get it.
He was about to let me go, and you would have kept. You would have kept dragging.
Say something profound, Carla. Let me see.
There's the Pugh Street sign. Roanoke. I'm in search of the grandfather's Pop's store. Hoping I'll find it down this road.
No, they weren't none around then.
Now, what is this? This is is that a wood burning stove?
That? No, that's electric.
Now this
Oil
here.
heater. Oh,
Now
yeah,
this-
that's an oil burner.
Uh-huh.
They have a tank out in the back that feeds this.
Okay.
Just turn
Looks
it
like
on.
it keep you nice and warm. When it get pretty cold here in the winter.
It has a blower on it. Turn that on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it gets kind of cool, but it's not really too bad here. We have kind of mild winters. Last year it wasn't bad at all.
But you don't ever get snow down this. I know they're in
Hardly
the mountains.
ever. We
Uh-huh.
have had some snow, but not, we don't get it very often.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one winter you won't get enough to make snow cream. We must always make snow cream, used to.
Yeah, I remember that.
This is the only addition that I've done since I moved here.
Mm-hmm.
Is this porch closed in and this bathroom built on there. There weren't no bathroom here when I come here. That no electric lights. They had a gas plant over across the road that back of the store. Well, that lit had lights for the store and the house. I was run over here to the house, but I did away with all that.
Mm-hmm.
Put in electric lights
Mhm.
when I moved here.
Is this your boat here?
That's one I had for years. Yep, an old Chris Craft.
Uh-huh. Now, did you offshore in that?
I did some. But,
Yeah, they get pretty rough out there. That's
but,
for a boat that
most
size.
of my fishing with that rig was around the inlet. Of course,
Mhm.
the last boats I run were or diesel boats, bigger and had diesel motors. But that was the one I used for years fishing around the inlet.
Uh-huh. Is this you in these pictures?
That's me there with my decoys, getting ready for parties,
Uh-huh.
decoy fishing.
You said what's your first name? Was Wayland?
Whaling, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got
Tour.
That was the breezeway there.
So this is part of the original house?
Oh yeah, all this is all the original. This, now I did change that. That used to be the washroom where the cook or the maid or whoever she was did their washing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I did away with that and put this partition here and opened it up for
Oh,
a
that's
breakfast
nice.
room. There used to
Nice,
be,
beautiful.
there was a little place in the wall there where the cook would pass through food through to the dining room.
So does that mean they had live-in help?
This was the old dining room. You can see some junk. Huh?
It's your fishing stuff, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, this is really the junk room.
Oh, it looks like some good junk. You got some.
All that's fishing tackle and all that's fishing tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And all that's fishing tackle. Now boys, I don't know, it seems like they rather buy it than someone else than to buy it from me. I decided I wasn't going to give them everything, you know. But anyway, the kind that I had then, that, you know, was kind of obsolete for them, so they want something different, new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that's like that. Every generation's like that. They want to get their own and
That's right.
with the latest gadgets and stuff on it. Talking about out back here.
Oh, that old barn?
Uh-huh.
That was that too. That was the old barn. Well, he had horses.
My grandfather had horses.
Yeah, he had a horse.
Oh, well, I guess everybody had a horse then. That's how you got around, right?
Yeah, all that land over there was a field. That was corn growing in that.
I'll be darned.
Or all them pines, all that was a field.
Uh-huh.
Pines grew in there. Right out in the middle of the yard, you can't see it now, there's a kind of a run right there in the middle of the yard.
Yes.
There was a little house, and that's where the colored man, his colored man,
Mhm.
yard man, I'd say.
Uh-huh.
That's where he
lived. So when they abolished, I was looking in some old records, and
And Charlie Fletcher.
that was his name.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
On the corner right there, and that's where he kept it.
On the corner of this building here.
Well, you see where them old things are sitting up down there?
Yeah.
The yard on the junk?
Yeah. Now what's that? Is that a privy back there?
Yeah, that's been on the way.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And do you? I saw in some of the records there was a Pew's Landing. Is that here on the island?
Yeah, but it's not, it's down in this direction.
No, they don't call it that anymore,
Well,
or do they?
Davis Landing, they finally changed, I think, a lot of them not calling it Davis Landing.
Okay.
Anyway, that's where he would landed his groceries and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Had a little boat named the Down Under, round bottom shad boat.
That was Carl. Carl had that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I wonder why I never saw him carve that particular boat.
Well, it was a little shad boat. I finally bought it and used it down in Hog Island when I fished the fishing gear after Mom died. Then I finally sold it to
Uh-huh.
one of the guys that did.
So he upped and left sort of in a hurry then.
Yeah, he did. That's why
No,
I
and
didn't
nobody ever really understood.
understand why he did that.
Wish I could shed light on that mystery.
I guess he just made up his mind right quick to go. So
Maybe his wife
packed
was.
up and left.
Yeah, maybe his wife was putting
I expect she probably
had something to do with it.
was the main one, probably.
Yeah. Well, it might have been. I know that I remember that hearing that she was always very jealous of the ex-wife. Now, did his first wife die or?
Yeah, she died. Virginia property.
How did she die? Do you remember hearing anything about?
No, I can't remember about that right over. I don't know if she had a typhoid or
Was that common in those days?
see.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I know she died. They were both school teachers when they moved here. Both his wife.
Mm-hmm.
There's a woman lives right over here in the neighborhood, not far away from me. Her name not right.
Oh, really?
Amelia Austin.
Now, my uncle mentioned, maybe it was my uncle that you saw, St. Clair. He told me that there was a woman here on the island. He referred to her as sort of as the matriarch of the family, somebody who, you know, was in her 90s, lived on the island here and knew, and maybe she was a tillet or a midget or somebody who had been, you know, part of the family in some capacity. I'm trying to remember what her name was.
There's an old lady here that here on the island's 102 years old, but she wouldn't be able to tell you nothing.
Yeah.
She don't really, she's not.
It's being restored slowly by Wayland. And when you look at these, see all these shelves here, those are the original shelves from Pop's store. You can see they line both sides of the shop. And in the back here, the stairway goes up to some storage area. In the back you can see where Pop's office was, where he conducted his business. That was where the steps to the office. Coming up these steps here. This is where my father probably played when he was a little kid. Right out in here. Used to be lined, all these shelves used to be lined with groceries, all kinds of foodstuffs and canned goods and little tools and things that you needed for the home. In the back there was a soda fountain. Over in the very back, where you could get yourself a fountain Coke, as according to what Wayland told me.
Oh, these boys, you know.
Yeah.
Different ones.
Neighborhood kids.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe it's some pew boys that are tearing it down, putting it on their wall.
No, I don't know about that.
Are there still pews in the area? I looked in the phone book and it looked like there were a number of the around. I figured they got to all be related. We all.
Yeah, there's not many. Mary Wells, Mary Hayes, his name was Captain Charlie Pugh's daughter. If you want to go see her, she lives up in Hometown.
Now where is that?
She could tell you all the history, a lot about the Pughs, you know, but she was Captain Charlie's daughter.
And where is Baumtown?
Well, if you want me to, I'll run up there and show you where it's at
Okay.
when you get ready to leave.
Sure. Is it far from here?
No, not far.
I mean, it's on the island here.
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Here in Monty.
Sure. Well, let's run up there if you
Got a
want.
place called Hometown.
Jax.
Alright. Go home.
You ever seen a picture of yourself sleeping?
Hmm?
You ever seen a movie of yourself sleeping?
Uh-uh.
Well, I got one now.
Oh boy.
You slip.
Boy.
I have pictures of you sleeping with your mouth open.
Sadly.
Yeah.
What's the deal now?
I went over and visited Pop's house.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Is Pooh sleeping?
She got up. She took a nap.
She just got up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you woke her up.
No, she was up when I came home. She was laying there. She said, "Is that you, Goosie?
Want some more biscuit?
That you, honey? More biscuit, honey?"
So you found the house, huh?
Yeah.
How'd you find it?
Just happened to drive down Pew Street, and there it was.
Oh, it's
And
on
and I
Tuesday?
asked, and I met this guy named Wayland Baum, who lives there now, and he took me on a tour of the house, and he took me on a tour of Pop's store.
Oh, did he?
And I asked him how the street got named Pew Street. He said about 3 or 4 years ago, somebody came down the street Somebody from the town and said, "What should we name the street?" He said, "Well, the Pews lived here for years, so they named it Pew Street." I
Oh,
said, "So
really?
you're the one who named the street?" He said, "Yeah."
I thought you were going to say something kind of big old whopper.
Listen, you know, Dada always said that Pop had made up the name of Selwyn, but obviously that's not true, because there's Selwyns on a whole lot of ancient graves. We need to find out where the Selwyn comes from, because I want to find out if there's some Jew in us. You know, think about it. Wayland Baum. I mean,
He's not a relative.
I know, but that's a Jewish name.
Yeah, but I never heard anybody named Selwyn before Pop.
There's so many, a lot of Selwyns in New York, and they're all Jewish.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in our family. Who's named Selwyn in our family before Pop?
Isn't there a third one? I thought there was William Oh, I'm thinking William St. Clair.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, Carla.
maybe you're right.
You desperately want to be Jewish. Are you still practicing?
Listen, are you panning in on the headboard here? I want you to get this whole headboard. Zoom back in and get me with the headboard in it.
Light's not very good in here, Carla.
Just pull the light on, pal.
There you are. There's sis. Now, I don't want anybody to see this tape and construe your comments as anti-Semitic, so you have to explain why you're curious.
Well, I mean, I converted to Judaism in 1980. Is that good enough?
That'll do it.
It's the disclaimer, right? You know? Eh.
Hello, Carla.
Hi. Did I say to Albie when I walk into Jordan? Hi.
Who's Abby?
My poodle. A big black Santa poodle. 70 pounds and 11 years old.
Wow.
I bought him at a point when I wanted children. And I haven't had one yet, so it's been a long time. But I think I'll be a better parent now than I would have been then.
Well, I hope you're a parent by this time next year, Carla.
Well, we're working on it. It's not like we haven't done anything.
Bye.
Every month.
Right on time, like
11
clockwork.
months now. We've been doing
How many months?
11 months total.
12 the charm. Hello.
Hi.
Turn it off. I'm not gonna
Say something.
do the tape thing at this point.
Do you have some profound statement that you want to leave behind in case you get hit by a large truck in the next couple of weeks? What do you think
Not
is?
right now, Goose.
No? Not feeling particularly
Pathetic.
prophetic? Is it prophetic or
It's
prothetic?
spelled with a PH, so it's
Prothetic.
prophetic.
Hi, Goosie.
Hi, Carla.
Goosie's lying on the floor in the living room of Charlie Pugh's home.
Singing old slave songs. Since we're in North Carolina, I figured it'd be appropriate.
He's gotten into one of his hyper moods, so...
Jump down, turn around, pick a bale of cotton. Jump down, turn around, pick a bale of hay. That's an old slave song.
Yeah.
What's another one?
Oh, them golden slippers?
No. What's that one, Old Black Joe? Old. What's that? Mommy used to sing that, Old Black Joe.
Uh-oh, the strap's getting in the...
I hear the gentle voices calling Old Black Joe. So here I am laying on the floor in my great uncle's. You can't focus that close, Carla. Isn't it getting blurry when you're that close?
No, I have it on back.
My great uncle's floor, waiting for my Uncle John, my brother John, to get up so we can go eat dinner. Queen Anne's Revenge. I spent the day with a gentleman named
Wayland Baum.
Wayland Baum, who lives in the house now that was built by Pop. I don't know if he said Pop built it or if there was something else, but I should try to relay all this stories that he told. But anyway, it was the house that I guess that Pop had built. That's our grandfather, my namesake, Carl Pugh Sr., and he and his wife Amelia, which we knew as Ning Ning, lived there for a number of years. And he had a general store across the street from the house, and it was like one of 2 or 3 general stores on the island of Roanoke Island, and it was a very popular place, and it was sort of like the meeting place down here in Wanchese, which is the town on the southern end of Roanoke Island. And Wayland, I guess, was younger. He was born here in 1907, and he lived down the street and knew the Pugh family well, knew Carl Sr. and Amelia. He was younger than them, and he knew Carl Jr., my father, as a child when Carl Jr. was a child. And Waylon told me, Waylon now lives in Pop's house and has Pop's store, which was moved across the street onto the property where Pop's house was, and he started sort of restoring it, and he uses it as his workshop now. It's full of all kinds of stuff, and the original shelves are still in there, which you've seen earlier on this videotape. And he remembered Charlie Pugh, and he said he had made many trips in a This is Little John's cemetery.
So he was a drunk, eh? Is these the only two we know?
And he was, Little John was the brother of William St. Clair Pugh, who was our great-grandfather. And his wife is buried beside him, Cynthia Pugh.
Oh, age 32 years.
82.
Oh, 82? He had lived to be 60 years. Who's the son?
This is Carla Pugh,
He only lived to be 28 years
4
old.
generations later.
Age 39. Look, there's your initials, Goosie. CP.
John Pugh.
Oh, yeah.
Read what it says, please, Jackson.
Juliet A. Pugh
Look, here's little John's
Died.
Goosie.
August 25th, 1867. Age 6 years, 9 months, 10 days. Apparently.
This is Bethany Pugh, and she was born October 7th, 1793, and she died 1874 at the age of 80.
7 months, 12 days.
Okay, and read this one over here, please.
I can't quite read it. And
Jackson?
It says, in memory of little John
John.
Pugh,
Who died May 22nd,
1845.
in the 65th year of his age.
What does it say at the bottom there?
And it says,
If we could rub it, we could get the information.
J.L. Maple, Norfolk, Roscoe.
Read what you can. L.R. Pugh, born
Thy
September
baby
18th.
Farewell. Blah, blah. Life's been short and painful, but now you're here forevermore.
And what are the dates?
Okay, died June 24th, 1888, 1889, age 9 months, 6 days.
We're at a cemetery on Roanoke Island, North Carolina, looking for ancestors of the Pugh family, and we found a cemetery that has a number of them in. You're looking at Carla Pugh, and John Pugh.
Well,
Yes.
tell them what you were telling me about
Yeah, I do
Sinclair
remember
and the
it.
fishing.
You do?
Remember who?
Carl Pugh.
Yeah, I remember Carl.
But yeah, tell them what you were telling me about.
But I remember
Sinclair,
Clarence.
or Uncle.
Uncle Clarence.
Uh-huh. That it was essentially one of those stores.
Well, this shed fishing started And most time moved to their fish camps day after New Year's. You had a hell of a hard work
Yeah.
getting all this steak stuff.
And he owned the
cars.
operation.
And you didn't aim much getting no net set for 15th of February. Well, it was all over by the middle of May. And then you go down to the store. My daddy
He had a company store, which you heard
My
of.
daddy used to work for him, Clara. And he would have them to bring up maybe 50 pounds of sugar, barrel of flour. You didn't buy it in bags, you bought a barrel. And if they didn't have enough lard, they bought 50-pound can of lard. They'd bring it up there, horse and cart. I lived up there with his radio station before I was born.
Yeah, we saw that.
And you raised the rest of your stuff.
So essentially, he didn't really pay money. It was just from the store that he would just get paid food, stuff,
Yeah.
staples.
Uh-huh. Kind of
But yeah, he was.
pay and trade.
Well, it was kind of like, you know, had you ever heard how coal miners in a company store work? They would kind of take advantage of the workers. Is what it was, really.
Well, that's.
Yes.
You're the two boys.
Die on the mountain. How do you feel about that?
Excited.
I'm excited about you dying on the mountain.
Goosey, don't talk that way to Jackson. That's not nice. You guys look good. What do you have to say?
Very exciting day. I flew 15 miles already. And now I'm ready to go across the ocean.
Hanging on the thermal. Bird came over and hit on Jackson's head. It was terrible.
Goosey, every time you get with Jackson in the picture, you say something derogatory.
Out in the ocean.
Here we are at Jockey Ridge. Jackson's about to go hang gliding. Let's see the panoramic view here.
Huh?
Where had you land?
On my stomach.
I'm kidding. I didn't realize that.
No, I didn't
Did
really
it hurt?
crash.
Did it hurt?
I didn't crash, I just landed.
Gus, can you
The
slide
first
down
2
this way a little
pounds.
more?
Ooh, I'm stuffed. Goosey fresh.
We haven't eaten very well on this trip. We sort of had some gross meals.
That first meal was no way to kick off the trip.
Yeah.
That was a dive of
What, the,
plastic
lobster?
forks and spoons and a waitress
Oh.
with a
Yeah,
perfect
yeah, and the
tea.
food last night
Nice.
was okay, but it was like not great. And usually I like to eat well from on the road, of course. I just haven't been that hungry on this trip.
I eat pretty good.
Jackson, Jesus,
all that
I've never
island
seen
air.
anybody eat so much ice cream in my whole life.
He's at the party.
I used to love that ice cream now.
I'm on a
Looks good.
ice cream kick.
Yeah. So what did you think about
That bitch.
the hang gliding, Jackson?
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I could see how if you learned hang gliding, if you got the skill down, it would be a lot of fun. You know, if you were comfortable and you weren't going to crash, and you didn't have to do any Gary loops. And yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. Just once you got up there, once you sort of stabilized, it would be an awesome feeling. It would really be.
Yeah. It'd be second nature, you know. And then ultralights would be even funner. Because you start from the ground.
Yeah, but you know,
They're dangerous 'cause
well, the
you
problem
can't
with ultralights
glide.
is there are no ways either.
But you can't glide.
Yeah, you
It's
can. Once
different.
the engine quits, you can come.
No,
fly
you
up.
Yes, you
don't.
can.
Of
Yes,
course
you
you
can.
can.
Yeah.
The ones I've known, if the engines have been too heavy, you plummet.
Oh. You
Yeah.
come down a little faster. Those are light
Yeah.
engines. They're two cycle. Two cylinder, two cycle.
I mean, the guy who said
Large.
date, Kevin, he had an ultralight. I mean, people were dying all the time down there. Honestly.
That's
The,
when
the
they
main
first
guy
came
who
out.
started it in Miami croaked.
That's when they were first coming out, though.
Those boys were not gliding down if the engine quit. They were out of luck.
You know, but,
They're very dangerous.
So where do you guys see Pop's store tomorrow? It's neat.
and it's a house now?
Well, it's actually a workshop and sits behind Pop's house. It was neat to see. And the neat thing about it is when you walk in there, it's sort of got this sort of eerie, you know, it's a little bit dark in there, and the sun sort of filters through a couple of eerie windows, and along each outer wall is all of these shelves. Now they're full of all sorts of crap from Whalen's
And who was
collection of
Whalen
stuff.
again?
Whalen is the guy who
Plays the guitar.
he's the guy who bought the
House.
yeah, but I'm not clear on whether he bought the house from Pop or not. Do you
I
know?
don't think so.
I'll have to get him to tell us that story again.
I found that old part, Mr. Hayes, or Hayes.
You
Oh.
liked him.
Yeah, because he was talking about going to the store with his kid and everything, buying a cane.
I bet it was great growing up around here as a kid.
Nickel or a penny for 5 sticks for him. And
Yeah.
to school and stuff.
Yeah, well, Dad had lived here until he was about 7 years old. So, I mean,
About as long as you lived in New York, Jackson.
yeah, yeah, which is, you know, long enough to have some memories, but not.
Yeah.
What a world it must have been back then. No cars,
Yeah.
horse and buggies, no electricity, no
Did
plumbing.
Pop ever tell you a story about riding his bicycle down the street? Ran over a cow that was laying in the road.
A dead cow?
No, a live cow.
No.
Cow jumped up well.
And that's funny because
Oh.
or that's what
Ran off.
Orville and what's his brother's name?
Wilbur.
Wilbur. That's what they had at bicycle shop. I don't think it was around here, was it?
It was Kitty Hawk.
No, that's where they flew. But I don't think they were from around here. Were they, Jack?
No, they were
I
from
don't know.
Minnesota. Or,
Nah.
No, they
I
were
think
from
they were
North
like
inland.
or
no,
Virginia or
they
something.
were not
They-
from that area. They were
Yeah.
from much further Midwest. I read the story on it.
Nah. You're outvoted.
Well, you guys are wrong. It was like Chicago or something.
Was it? I don't know.
I do know.
Just screw 'em, lady.
They definitely weren't from North Carolina.
So you guys have all learned a great card game.
No.
Nah. Nah.
So I read an interesting article about the laws of not so much the laws of probability, but how people think that I guess it's sort of like ESP or you know, they think something was going to happen and they say, "See, I knew that was going to happen." You know?
Deja vu.
Well, not so much deja vu, but people that think that they, you know,
Let me see this.
you know, think about like when the phone's going to ring and then it rings. And I read this interesting story about how people, you know, why that happens, and which is because I've never believed in ESP or anything. And the reason it is because when sort of the core of this was if you think the phone's going to ring and then it rings, or you think whatever's going to happen and then it happens, then it reinforces your feeling. But if you think the phone's going to ring and then it doesn't ring,
You don't remember
you don't
that
remember
part.
that part. It's not a significant event. In fact, one of the ways that they were using to describe it is there's this long-held theory in basketball. A lot of basketball fans believe in I forget what it is. They believe that a player is hot. You know, players running hot. The same thing in gambling. When people say the dice are running hot or they're running cold. But in basketball, if a player makes 3 shots in a row, they say, oh, the player's really, you know, he's really hot tonight, shooting a lot of baskets. And then if the 4th shot is a near miss, they'll say, you know, I told you, see, it's hot. He almost made that 4th one. But if it's cold and he has a near miss, it's like, see, you know, the guy can't make anything. You know,
Well,
so
but you know, athletes can be hot. I mean, people do.
well, that's
People do
true.
slip into peak experiences, and athletes are amongst them. And
Yeah.
I think Michael Jordan has a lot of peak experiences as an athlete.
Yeah. Well, the way that they described this was the odds of, if you flip a coin 20 times, the odds of it going heads or tails 4 times in a row is 50-50 during that 20 flips. You know, so you didn't think, you know, 4 times in a row, that's something going on there when it's really
It's an equal
just,
chance
yeah.
either way.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. It's just there's a lot of functions in there.
Well, Goose, I think I'm going to take a shower.
No poo, you have to stay here till the videotape runs out.
How many more minutes do we have?
Poo is not a natural conversation.
Um,
Only Jackson who's oblivious to
the
that.
U.S. Hang Gliding Association is in Colorado Springs.
Cool. You should go there, present your certificate and say,
Hey, oh,
hey, good buddy.
I'm a professional.
Let's do different imitations of all the people we know. Like, there's a Popham imitation. Oh, yeah. That's Popham.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then
How about,
there's
oh,
Johnny.
oh, Gene?
That's Hayden.
Oh,
And then
Hey,
there's
Gina.
Johnny.
I wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
imitate Johnny.
Oh,
I haven't seen Johnny for so long.
yeah,
When was the last time you saw Johnny?
This is Graham. Now, Gene, that's no. I don't think we have to talk about this again. Remind me again one more time. We're gonna go over it in detail. I gotta hear
And then her favorite word is cozy. Or roar, brother, roar.
Right,
What?
right. Or would you like another granola bar?
Oh.
She's pushing those a lot.
Yeah, so what's Johnny like?
Still
When's the last
have
time
her
you saw
cocktail
Johnny?
Johnny
hour.
is very funny.
Wait a second, when was the last time you saw him?
Recently.
How about you, Jack?
6 months ago.
Oh, yes.
He's
Like
very-
how many years?
Probably since you've seen him.
Well, I haven't seen him since the Devonwood house, you guys.
Likewise.
Really? I thought you went to Mount Dora and visited Graham at one point.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Oh.
Thank God, we stayed.
He's
Well,
very-
guess what? I haven't seen Graham since then either.
He's very funny. In an elementary
Has he
kind of way.
changed? And he was
Whatever, he's very funny.
He is. He's funny. I guess he's funny because your expectations are so low. You know what I'm saying? So that anything he says kind of is
Yeah,
funny.
I know. Well, I think that, yes, that's probably part of it. It seems like there was more to it.
He does have a good sense of humor, but it's like little
Limited.
rhymes and word puns and.
Yeah, but see, because I remember as a kid thinking he was, you know, not really quite seeing the. I mean, he was weird, but not really sort of seeing it as
That
being
way.
ill or being retarded.
Remember when he got
Is it
the-
more clear to you now when you look at him that he's
Remember
like,
when he got the new
Oh,
Mustang?
yeah, because his pants hang down almost off of him.
And he never put up tucks in his shirt. Remember when you got the new Mustang and you were scrambling it through the yard down, but
oh
Well,
God,
I did more
I
than
do
just
remember
Devil. When
that.
Penny and I took him out around the neighborhood.
With him in it?
Completely terrorized him.
No, with him
Because
in
we
it?
met some guys in the road and we dragged them.
no, did you?
Well, Johnny.
Johnny's in the back
He
seat.
he never drove with me again. I really frightened him.
Yeah, but there
I
could have
took
been
advantage
anybody.
of
It
the
didn't have to
situation.
be Johnny.
Because we had a restricted license. We were 14 and he was a grown-up.
And then Johnny got also approached by a prostitute on Miami Beach. Came home very distraught.
I'm blocking the camera. Jackson, you're blocking the camera.
Hey.
Jax.
Yes.
Hello, Jax. So Jax,
Jackson, you're blocking Goosey's camera.
it's okay, Jax.
I'm not blocking
Doesn't
it.
matter. This is real life. This is like how they
Except
make
for
movies now. It's sort of like that sort of music video kind of feel to it.
MTV.
I ain't blocking
Jackson,
nothing
I
but a
cannot
drink.
believe that you're eating all that ice cream.
That's how I been gaining weight.
God, you're gonna be
Show
wired.
the people back home what your stomach looks like, Jackson.
Okay.
Show them that big gut.
Well,
Come over here.
here it is normally. And here it is when I distend it.
Boing.
Oh, Pinocchio.
You all dressed up for us tonight, Carla.
Yes,
This
Carla.
is a formal occasion for you.
That's my limited look.
She's mentally incapacitated. This is as much as she can get her physical.
I bought this for the trip.
So tomorrow's the big day. This went very fast for me, this whole trip.
It kind of dragged
I
me.
have to tell you, one of the nicest things for me on this trip was with Waylon. He was a nice guy. It was just like, it wasn't as zooey. This was a little too zooey for me today with, you know, with all this there. And he was he's just sort of a very comfortable guy, you know, after a minute, you know.
Well, I think the only way we
Friendly.
can do those sort of personal
You can't do them
get-togethers is
by,
that you can't have cross conversations,
no.
number one, and one
Well,
of us
you
should do.
you really can't. You can only have one person.
One person needs to do the talking, the rest of us
And in
just.
fact, even if I'd gone over there by myself and it had been those two, it would have been better if it had been just,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, when
one of us.
Jackson was talking to that
And
guy,
Dylan.
I felt like screaming.
Well, I did too because of the video camera. I was feeling tense, but
And then we kept trying to shut Mr. Hayes up, and of course, he
He
was
would.
sort of.
But then it turned out that Billy didn't know anything. Hayes knew all Mr.
So
Hayes.
Goosie had to jump up and switch the camera.
Which I didn't
on
want to
him.
do discreetly because I didn't want to offend.
Billy.
Bill is like, you know, pointing the camera. I was like, hell, you don't know anything.
Then I got and switched it back, and then we ran out of film.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of an interesting tape altogether, I think.
It's going to be very fragmented.
Can you edit anything like that, or is it you pretty much stuck with it on the tape? Huh?
I mean, you can if you have the equipment, but I don't have any video tapes.
Does that mean you have to open up the canister and then splice it and all that, or what do they do these days?
Yeah, these days they
Digitally
you pop it
seal
into a deck where you have the cassette that you're running, and then you have another deck with another
Oh.
cassette, and then you sort of
Stop.
You have this thing called a jogger, where it's like a wheel, and you sort of wheel up to the point you want, and
Oh, that's
pick up
interesting.
from there. So Wayne Sherman does that for a living,
Uh-huh.
so he does all that stuff. So I hang glided today. That was something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, you know, you ought to buy one of those T-shirts that says Flight School on it. They were pretty.
Yeah,
They were real nice.
yeah. That was neat. I'd definitely like to do it.
In fact,
again.
you know what they were
I'm
selling?
not ready to jump off any mountain though. Boy, I was getting confused there. I almost killed myself. Yeah, I just got confused. He kept saying, pull back, pull back. And so I'd go like this, pull back, and like pull. But he wanted me to go like this. And
Yeah.
I was doing the worst possible thing. I'm climbing like this, and he's going, and I'm going too high. And he said, pull back. I went, woo. You know,
God, and then you stalled
You were
pretty
way
much
the
in
hell
the
up
air.
there.
Wasn't
He
I?
didn't stall though. I was way up there. And then I went like this, and I went, what did I do? And it was sort of this eerie thing because I was sort of hanging up there way in the sky.
Just sit
And I knew I was very high, and I knew I was like stopping. And his voice sounded frightened. I'm looking
He was.
down, and it was sort of like I was hovering above my own body, like you hear about people talking about.
You thought you were gonna get hurt?
And he sounded very frightened, but I wasn't frightened for some reason. I don't know why I wasn't frightened. And then I got down. I mean, I ended up. What happened? I ended up getting some speed, and then I think I mean, I didn't end up having a good flight even after that, but. And he comes over and says, "You scared the hell."
They have some car decals that you might like to have in your car someday. Really?
I'm not into car decals. I'm not car junk. I always thought it's a little weird to put take your $10,000 new car and put it, just trash it up. It just looks trashy.
I have a Yellowstone National Park decal on my car. That way I identify the parking lot. Everyone I know has an LX Honda. Everyone I
I
know.
have a trailer hitch.
Oh, that's different. You can trail something on the back of that?
Not much.
Size car? No.
1,500
Maybe a
pounds.
jet ski.
Windsurf.
The back of what?
Back of a lightweight Honda car.
Yeah. You
They're
don't
not-
have the LXI, do you?
No.
I have the LX. I wish I had the LXI.
Oh, you have a Honda?
If I have my air conditioning on and I'm trying to get on an expressway, I just turn it off.
You don't still have that same Honda, do you?
No.
Oh no, I got rid of my Golden. I've got the Lux now.
Oh.
You have a new car, pal.
The what? Lux?
Yeah, four-door Honda. Lucy and I drive the same car now.
Exact
Can you
same
believe
car.
that?
Same year, The same color.
What year?
Same model. 19, what is it?
It's
19,
weird.
1989?
It's pretty
What
weird.
is it, an 89?
I have an 89.
That's what I thought.
What?
I got an
Oh, do you? We all drive an 89? That's kind of interesting.
That was a very good year.
So, you know, we're going to see each
Ford.
other pretty soon. I mean, we won't even have time to miss each other before we're seeing each other
Yeah.
again.
So do you think we should do this next year?
What,
The
come here?
Wanchies?
No.
What, just Sibs?
Yeah.
No.
Just sit. Why not?
Fine, Jax, you and I will go somewhere.
Come to
Once
my
every
house.
20 years is maybe a good
No.
idea.
20
years?
Look, I
Go
want
on.
Social.
bring
Nah, we
Arnie.
thought you loved us. You told us you loved us twice on this
I was
trip.
really looking forward to this trip, but I realized my dreams within 24 hours.
What was that?
What was that?
Well, it only took me 24
That we're
hours
gonna
to
kill
get to
you
know
at the
you.
end of the trip. Come to my place, you all. I've got 2 extra bedrooms.
You
Well,
figure,
how,
you
Pooh,
figure
how
out
are we
for
going to
me.
bond if you don't want to spend any time with us?
Mm-hmm.
Lucy, what is this, like, glue baby junk here? I mean, what do I need to do?
Spend time with us.
I am. I'm here. What more do you want?
Come back next year.
And then what?
Well, God,
Year
why
after?
not?
Where should we meet next year, Jackson?
My
You and I?
place.
Nah.
Why
no,
not?
No, it has to be neutral territory.
It has to be a
We're not going to want
non-horse
to hang out
palace.
at your house.
We don't have to, we can go up in the mountains.
It's gotta be someplace where people don't smoke.
Well,
Go
I mean,
back.
you might talk me into going to Colorado, but who's not going to want
To go skiing?
it? No. You don't want to do that, do you?
Of course I do.
Skiing?
But with Arnie. Because Arnie's never been
See,
skiing
we're not going to
before.
bond with Arnie around. Any more than you're going to bond with Jean around, or I'm going to
Why
bond with Linda
not?
around.
We would if you didn't spend all
Yeah.
your time with her. I might bond a little bit more. In fact, frankly, I think you all should go on a vacation with Arnie and I'll go on a vacation with Jean. Think about it. Then I'd really get to know her.
How long do we have to think about it?
We just thought about it. Forget it.
That's one less person you could show this tape to.
Or brother bar.
I didn't say that.
I did.
I'm going to rewind it and play this part over again. I like Arnie. Who's trying to salvage the tape? It's too late, Carla.
Jean, you'd like to spend time with me, wouldn't you?
I don't know, June. She's sort of boring. She doesn't want to do anything. After she sits in the parking lot, she wants to come home. She wouldn't even let us stop for dinner.
I didn't go hang gliding. I knew where my limits are, man. I didn't want to do that with
I'm
Walter.
tired. I'm bushed.
Bavarian?
Yeah. So where could we go next year? What would be like sort of fun? What appeals to you? Just to make believe for a second. We're going to do that.
No, but it's true though,
Disney
that when we
World.
all get together and we're with our respective spouses, we don't end up actually connecting.
That's true.
And I don't end up connecting with Jean either. There's
That's
something
true.
wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's normal. I don't think that's wrong at all. That's why it's important to have vacations like this. And all kidding aside, you're
Well,
right.
you
If you
do
really
need
wanted to, if we really wanted to get to know Arnie, then we should go on vacation with him. The guys should, the family guys should.
Or, you know, you spend a day with Arnie in some capacity and
Yeah.
and likewise, you know, do
Yeah.
something
But
that's
see,
sort
the
of.
problem is it's going to take more than that. You know, it's like friends. Gene and I have this conversation often because at home, you know, we sometimes say, you know, it would be nice if we had, you know, another couple that we spend time with.
Yeah.
But the problem is you just can't have that many friends with you, because to have a friend, like there's another couple down the street, which is a very nice couple.
Requires
If we-
attention.
If we have dinner with them once every 6 months, we're not going to develop a friendship. There's no point. There's just no point, is my feeling. Either you see them once a week,
And who has
or,
time?
or forget about it.
Unless
So
it's
therefore, if you have
involved.
only, you do, yes, you do, Jen. You live the perfect life, Jackson. Jackson is actually the smartest person among us. He has figured out a way to have all the free time that he wants. Now that you have that free time, what do you do?
Don't start this again.
Hobby C.
Yeah, like what?
I told you, I alternate between working on my, rebuilding the motorcycle,
That's fun.
because I got it in a box.
I like
Completely.
rebuilding motorcycles. That's
I
fun.
had to take the schematic wiring diagram and fully rewire it. And that was hard.
That would be fun for me. I'd like to do that.
Anybody take one look at that wiring diagram and they would say forget it.
I wouldn't mind having total
It's
free
easy.
time for hobbies.
Yeah. What would you do?
More art.
Harder.
Yep.
You know what I would do? If I had an
Acrylic.
unlimited amount of money, I'd do
Acrylics.
sports. I'd get into anything. So I got tired of that. Then
I
I'd
have
get
a
into,
person.
I'd get into, you know what I want to learn next?
What?
Kayaking. Whitewater kayaking.
Well, my area is Big B.
Yeah. Whitewater kayaking would be a gas. That'd be a lot of fun.
My area is a place to meet next year.
Well, how far are you from Yellowstone National Park, do you think? Really?
That's what we should do. We should do a road trip. We should meet in
a
Denver.
Winnebago.
We could do it in a Winnebago.
No, just a regular car's good enough.
A
Yellowstone
a regular
is a beautiful
I'll hide
place to
Linda
stay.
in the bathroom.
Nah, see, it's not the same.
Oh, I
It's not.
know. That's what I was kidding.
It's true. It's not the same.
What?
Can't have siblings. Can't have spouses.
I don't want to go on a sibling trip to that extent. I mean, because I don't
Why do you
have,
keep doing that?
I don't have the intimacy
Who
with you
am I
guys.
going to
that-
be able to show this tape to other than
You know what I mean? I don't
and
have the intimacy with you guys that I actually have with Arnie, in
I
fact. You know, so I kind of miss it.
Oh, well.
I do. It's like after a while, I kind of miss being able to just.
But why isn't it? Why can't you be comfortable
But it's
with your
physical.
brother? We're your brother.
I know, but I have a physical relationship with Arnie. I like that.
So
You do.
Can't you separate the two?
You know,
You're not interested in pursuing a platonic relationship with your brother?
I have one, but I don't have to spend it on a vacation with you guys.
This is how we sort of get to know each
But
other.
I know you guys very well.
No,
I
you
don't.
don't. No, you don't.
I don't
No, you
feel.
No, you don't. All you can do, the only thing you say to Jackson like a broken record is take Thorazine, take Thorazine, or something like that.
Take some kind of pill and straighten your
Thorazine,
life out.
not
You don't really
Thorazine, I
know
say
Jackson as an adult.
that. Yeah, I do.
And neither do I.
Well, all I know is
You're so
this one
philosophical.
pill is not the cure all of my life.
What is the cure-all for your life?
Leave me alone.
That'll cure you?
You know, you're after something. You're trying to get fulfilled in some way that,
No,
that the
I-
family didn't
no.
meet your needs in some way, and I'm not sure
No,
what you're
I don't-
asking for is realistic.
I'm not after, I don't think I'm after anything. I would like us all to be closer. And I think that this was great. Very good, very good. Good. In order to
But I don't feel not close. I have not felt like we weren't close. I felt that way about 5 years ago. But in the last couple of years, I haven't felt that way at all. We've spent a fair amount of time the last couple of years on vacations
Yeah.
and things.
I haven't felt like we were that close. I mean, we were close, but you know,
Garbage?
I'll feel like we were much closer after this.
Goosey, garbage.
Won't you?
But I haven't felt.
Won't you?
Goosey, you gonna eat this coffee?
Nah.
I didn't feel.
Wait, is this
I didn't
bag in
feel
there?
like there was a gap.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I did not feel that there was a gap.
How about you, Jack?
About what? A gap with us?
I feel completely up to date on what was happening.
I don't know, a little bit.
You know, I mean, I really do. I mean,
Do you feel like you've gotten to know Pooh better, or sort of feel more comfortable with Pooh now as a result of this trip?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this trip was valuable for that?
you know, I do
Seriously.
feel closer to Jackson because I think Jackson, in the
Well, maybe you and
past,
Jackson should go on
Jackson
vacation.
has been in some weird spaces, and of course, you've always had your girlfriend around. So.
Let's talk about those weird spaces you've been in. Let's say those.
And I'm glad
Boulder
to-
County Jail.
No, I'm glad to spend time with Jackson,
How about time with Jackson?
where
at the
he's
Boulder
feeling
County Jail?
okay, you know, that's good.
Yeah, Jackson
But, I
has
mean,
been
you've
with us
been-
for 4
ever
days.
since-
He hasn't taken one drink. That's
Frankly,
pretty
ever
incredible.
since,
Oh, I don't think that's a big deal.
It is a big
I
deal.
have no major craving, but I was a little offended when you told me that. Like,
I know you
No,
were.
don't
order a drink.
You and I'm keep laughing. sorry
like you're playing mommy or something.
No, I care about
Because
you,
if I
Jackson.
want one, I'll have one.
I know you will. but
I have
just-
no major craving for
It
it.
would have just.
But it wasn't my choice to quit drinking either.
Well, that's what's unfortunate. You may as well take credit for it, Jackson.
Well, I'm being honest.
Yeah, so that doesn't get you any credit. I'd rather you lie and tell me you
Oh.
did it because you wanted to save
But
your
I'm
life.
doing better without drinking. Me and Linda argue about this.
Is Linda drinking? She's on
She
NABC.
drinks.
She drinks around you.
Oh, yeah.
Why doesn't she go on NABC?
She doesn't have that much of a problem.
Whenever I've seen her, she's been
She's
swigging
been
it
pretty-
just like
Well,
you.
she was drinking a lot
She's an
when you saw
alcoholic.
it.
You
We're
don't
all...
She's the only slimy person that we can judge.
But no, what I'm saying
This will
is-
be
who's
nonsense.
smoking a cigarette?
Jackson! Come on. Get out of here with the cigarette, would you?
I'll put it out.
Jesus, God, we can't show this to the...
No, because now I'm smoking.
Ooh, this is really disgusting, man.
There it is. Jackson, I don't understand.
You guys are deadbeats.
You're a wart, man.
Yeah,
You're
you're
just
just-
a wart.
I-
You've been kind of excited.
Maybe.
I
You've
don't
been
know,
very
I eat better.
excited about this whole thing.
My stomach's...
You're
so-
kind of hyper.
Oh, I've always been.
Really? I never remembered you being. Maybe that's why you were
Are you
always trying to. You were always the bull, and we were the chipmunks.
Yeah.
Because he was the hyper bully. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I mean, we were always hiding, and you were always chasing. I mean, in a way,
Well,
it's
what game was that? I just remember the pool one.
I mean, you see, you were too young to remember that one in Baldwin, but we used to, you know, we'd like go like this, and we'd hide behind furniture, and Goosie would be the bull, you know, and he'd try
I don't really remember
he'd
that.
try and
It
grab
sounds-
us.
it sounds vaguely
It was
familiar.
always terrifying. We loved it.
You know what was a lot of fun that we used to play, Jackson? In the pool and mommy and mommy.
Bull.
The pool and
Bullet. Or bull.
no, the pool in Devonwood.
Yeah, where you jump
Bull.
feet
No.
first and try to
The
hit-
skateboard
No.
thing. We
Or
were
the
on
skateboard. Remember
We
the
were on
skateboard?
skateboards.
Round and round we
We
go.
go like
I
this.
remember that.
No, you were allowed to do it on
And it was
foot.
those old wheel with the steel
Steel
wheel.
wheel.
Yeah.
And then you go.
I'll never forget, remember
Oh,
that
yeah.
thing that hung over the kitchen window and it had a bar that we would grab onto?
Yeah.
I grabbed onto that and missed it. Went flying in the back of my head. Boy, that looked like shit.
Back of your head where?
What about seeing stars?
Back of your head hit where?
On the patio. Concrete. I was hauling balls on the
You guys were
skateboard.
always doing that.
And we would grab a hold of that bar and go swinging and kick the
I see.
skateboard out from
Yeah.
under
I
us.
never did that.
And I missed it and went
Yeah.
schwamp.
But I was
Straight
talking
back.
about the Blind Man's Bluff in the pool.
Oh, Marco Polo.
Marco Polo, yeah.
Mhm.
That
I
was-
played
always
that
liked
this
game.
summer with a bunch of younger kids.
Yeah. It's
Me,
fun.
Linda, and
Yeah, it's
Science
endless.
would
We never
play.
got tired of it.
Remember we had that bell that they'd ring, what was it, 1, 2, or 3 rings, depending on who
the
was running
Harrisons.
for? No. Oh, the Harrisons had a train whistle.
Yeah, we had one too. That
We
was
had a
for
bell
phone
right
call.
outside the kitchen.
Yeah.
But we also had a buzzer too, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, that
Buzzer
was the
in-
bell.
instead of
Oh,
later.
that was the buzzer.
Buzzer
Well,
was
the
later.
bell was left from the littles.
Yeah.
That was for dinner. We didn't really use that. But the buzzer was a bell too. 1 for poo, 2 for you.
Yeah,
3
and I
for
had,
me.
you guys remember the fort I had out in the
Stable.
yeah, and then they
Oh,
tore
that
it
was
down.
neat.
Dad had tore it down.
You
Yeah.
know why? 'Cause
This was part of the system.
no, because we invited Terry Phillips over and
Hey, Jackson, just in time.
what?
Sit down right here.
Camera button.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd like to go ahead and do general boarding. All roads for American Eagle Flight 4920 to Raleigh, Durham, under the exit sign. If you would please have your boarding pass out and available so that you really would appreciate it.
So, what's the deal, kids? Where are we gonna go next year?
I'm gonna go on another ski trip.
I want everybody for Christmas. We should start planning.
How many bedrooms do you have? Do you have 2 spare
Three.
bedrooms?
We should start planning our.
Linda gets to work, but we don't have enough better.
Yeah, no, we should plan our Christmas
But you know what?
'92 trip now.
For $28, you can get a room like Mama does with a kitchenette and everything.
Wow, that's cheap.
Very cheap.
So what's
Mama-
there
Yeah,
to
but we
do?
don't want to stay in Longmont
What's
because
there to
there's
do?
nothing much to do right there.
Goosie, we're the last ones on the plane. We've gotta go.
That's
See ya.
really.
Bye, you guys. Love you guys.
See you, Steve.
Oh shit! I forgot.